Hi, everyone. Welcome to our info session. I'm Kyle. Today, we're going to dive into our newly released digital lessons for grade 6. Zearn is a nonprofit founded on the belief that every kid is a math kid. Our work is focused on supporting teachers with the research-based curriculum and digital lessons that keep kids engaged with precise, just-in-time support that they need. We've been working tirelessly to learn, grow, adapt, and extend our offerings to middle school students. And I'm beyond excited that our comprehensive materials for every objective of grade 6 are now open to all, and all for free. We're going to cover three things in our session today. First, I'll provide a bit of background on our approach to grade 6 and middle school math learning. We'll then dive right into a digital lesson to explore how Zearn can help reinforce and deepen the learning students are doing with you, their teacher. We'll see through the eyes of a student how each lesson gives students more opportunities to deeply learn and explore the concepts that you're teaching, all with built-in differentiated support. This time, we'll see this through the students' introduction to rational numbers. Finally, we'll take a look at our lesson plans and instructional planning materials. Those are designed to support you in facilitating rich math conversations in which all students feel welcome and believe in their ability to solve problems. Our team is monitoring the Q&A, so feel free to ask any questions at any time, and we'll be happy to answer. Zearn's sixth grade digital lessons and teaching materials come as a result of years of testing, iterating on, and improving our sixth grade content in a large pilot program. We're continuing to learn and improve upon our seventh and eighth grade content in our pilot program to support kids' learning and make the best middle school learning experience possible. Our motivation for developing middle school content was to take all that we've learned from the billions of problems completed in our K-5 platform and extend those learnings into middle school, where, as we all know, the gaps are often wider and the math can just be a bit more abstract and get to really symbolic quickly. We've carried forward the same fundamental learning principles that ground our K-5 content into sixth grade. Our sixth grade lessons approach math as a few big ideas with really dense connections across topics and grade levels, and continue to anchor new concepts and visualizations and the concrete to help kids make sense of the math. But we've also had a ton of fun getting into that specific middle school mindset to create digital content that's engaging and supportive to that unique and passionate middle schooler ethos that you all know so well. We're also compelled to meet our current moment, which demands urgency and care on behalf of rising sixth grade students who are experiencing the always challenging transition to middle school in the wake of unprecedented disruptions to their final elementary school years, likely with greater unfinished learnings than ever before. It's with this in mind that we created our sixth grade materials. How do we support students to both move forward with grade level learning while also helping them catch up on missed learnings, all within the same program? Our approach focuses on two key ideas. First, like our K-5 lessons, our middle school digital lessons offer every student more opportunities to explore grade level math. Zearn's digital lessons include on-screen instruction from real teachers, visual models with concrete and pictorial representations, and interactive digital manipulatives. This double dose of daily grade level lessons, it deepens and reinforces the learning students are doing with you. We also know all kids don't always master every concept from prior grades, so our materials don't assume they do. Digital lessons provide multiple layers of built-in differentiated support right when a student struggles. That starts with the way students actually engage with new concepts on Zearn. All students should have a friendly way into the math. Digital lessons provide friendly access points and on-ramps into new concepts to activate what kids already know and help them feel supported as they engage with new grade level ideas that can also oftentimes be intimidating. When a student struggles, Zearn's digital lessons launch scaffolded supports that bring in the connected foundational concepts from prior grades. So let's say a sixth grade student struggles with their grade level lesson Instead of putting the student just right back in fifth grade content, we bring that fifth grade content into the support right there, built into the sixth grade lesson experience. This means students spend more time in grade level while still getting the support they need to catch up. So let's do some math. Let's see all this in action. Let's hop into grade 6, mission 7, titled Rational Numbers. We'll start at the beginning of the mission with topic A, negative numbers and absolute value. We're going to work through both the guided practice and independent practice portions of lesson 1. Understand that both portions of every lesson have built-in intervention and just-in-time support that launches at the precise moment of misunderstanding. We'll see a few examples of that as we go. It's important to note that this mission is introducing the concept of negative numbers. So as we experience the lesson, I want you to focus on how Zearn builds understanding and makes the math both accessible and engaging. Let's dig into the guided practice first. In this lesson, it's called the Math Chat.
Hey there. To kick off Mission 7, we're going to talk about temperature and elevation. You know, cold stuff, hot stuff, high stuff, low stuff.
Hey.
Let's get started with a problem about temperature. In the morning, the temperature was 2 degrees Celsius. Later in the day, the temperature increased 5 degrees. Show this change on the thermometer.
We're starting off with a familiar context, temperature, and a friendly opening question. Concrete representations and friendly questions like this activate what kids already know and give them an entry point into this new concept of negative numbers. One of Zearn's central learning principles is that math is just a few big ideas, and there's always a way in. When we ground math learning in these big ideas, such as whole numbers and operations, fractions and decimals, ratios and proportional relationships, we build really dense connections that allow us to tackle any problem. On-ramps like concrete problem context and visual representations help students build and strengthen those connections. They help students see the structure, they help them make sense, and have something besides a list of steps to fall back on when they get stuck or encounter a new tricky concept. That's what we're starting to see here. Through the concrete representation of the thermometer, the lesson is gearing students up to build a deep, intuitive understanding of the hard to visualize concept of negative numbers. Let's see this change in temperature on our thermometer and see where the lesson takes us next.
It was 7 degrees Celsius during the day. At night, the temperature got colder. By midnight, it dropped 10 degrees Celsius. Show this on the thermometer.
Now we arrive at numbers below 0. The context, thinking, and representation is the exact same as our on-ramp. This consistency frees up students' working memory to unlock a deep understanding of this new idea. I'll do the same thing I did when the temperature increased. I'll count my way down to decrease the temperature by 10 degrees. As we arrive at a question that many of us keep in our back pocket, what do you notice? With my representation there for me to reference, I can see the temperature is now below 0.
You may have noticed that the temperature dropped below 0. 0 degrees Celsius is the temperature at which water freezes to ice. This temperature is below 0, so it's even colder than the freezing point. What temperature is it?
We're getting to the core concept of this lesson in a way that's intuitive and accessible. Students are building a deep foundation of understanding, and whatever unfinished learning they have, it's not keeping them from accessing this new understanding. Using the representation again, I can count to see that the temperature is 3 degrees below 0.
We can also describe quantities less than 0 using negative numbers. Just like we count the distance from 0 for positive numbers, 1 degree, 2 degrees, we count the distance from 0 for negative numbers too. -1 degree, -2 degrees. Keep going. What's another way to write this temperature?
So here in this moment, we're going to write the temperature as -3 degrees. As students continue to work with the manipulative to answer questions and explore this new idea, it's more than likely they'll make a mistake. Maybe a student's confused about starting below 0 and thinks that increasing by 6 degrees means just adding up the thermometer until you actually get to 6 degrees above Celsius. As is true throughout a student's digital experience, students receive precise digital feedback at the moment of perceived misconception. So students get another opportunity to answer correctly before launching additional support. At this point of the lesson, students are still developing their understanding of negative numbers. So maybe a student thinks we should count from the starting point -2 and thinks that the temperature is 6 degrees Celsius. That's not it. So this time, maybe the student thinks we should count from the bottom of the thermometer instead of from 0. I think maybe it's 13. Well, that's still not it. Now that I've made a mistake twice, I'm going to get targeted support. A more scaffolded representation shows me how many degrees the temperature is above 0. And I want to call your attention to a new feature here. If I need some more help with approaching this question, this tip reminds me that to find the temperature, I should start at 0 and count the spaces to the end of the red. These tips are a new feature for our middle school lessons to provide the scaffolding students need to find their way into the problem. The student can now see that the thermometer shows 4 degrees Celsius. Students will continue to work with the thermometer to represent numbers above and below 0. Let's skip ahead in the lesson a little to see how the lesson continues to progress.
Let's look at positive and negative numbers in a new context: elevation. The term elevation is used to describe the height of a location compared to sea level, or the surface of the ocean. At sea level, the elevation is 0 feet. That means if you picture the surface of the ocean, that's an elevation of 0 feet. Let's imagine the hilltop is 250 feet above sea level. The coral reef is 150 feet below the surface of the ocean. Here are some more locations and their elevations. Plot each of these locations on a number line.
I want to point out how Zearn Math helps students visualize the mathematics. Not only did we see the problem come to life through video, we're also seeing Zearn's concrete to pictorial to abstract learning approach. It's one of our learning principles. We follow that concrete to pictorial to abstract approach, which teaches children to understand math concepts in an intuitive and tangible way. All students build a deep and sustainable understanding of math when they learn with this flexible and rich pedagogical approach. Moving students from the thermometer to the vertical number line, it might seem insignificant, but it was an intentional move to help students see the value in the vertical number line diagram. Notice how the vertical number line mirrors the thermometer they used earlier. Though a different, still concrete context of elevation, students deepen their understanding of negative numbers on the number line. Instead of finishing out this checkpoint, let's jump ahead to see how the lesson ends, noting that our middle school lessons always conclude with a prompt for students to complete problems in their student notes.
It's time to bring it all together. Synthesize what you've learned about positive and negative numbers in your notes.
You can see in our student materials, the problems shown in the independent digital lesson, they're already included. This allows students to focus their thinking on the math and not spend time copying the problem from the screen into a blank notebook. This transfer of software-based learning to paper deepens understanding for all students by strengthening knowledge retention. Now let's shift our attention to the next phase of the lesson, the independent practice. Our independent practice is known as the Tower of Power. The Tower is our multi-level daily digital assessment that's required for students to be able to move to the next lesson. Zearn Math not only helps students build their understanding, we also provide students the opportunity to demonstrate their developing understanding with each lesson. The first thing you'll notice in this second stage of the tower is that now we're starting without a thermometer or a vertical number line. We've dropped the visual supports here, still keeping the problem in context, to allow us to see what students took away from the lesson. The stages of the tower are scaffolded such that students are progressing towards the overarching goal of the lesson as they work through the tower. So here, I'll name something that is warmer than -20 degrees. And now I'll name a number that is colder, or a temperature that is colder than -10 degrees Celsius. Keep climbing. So here in stage 3, we want to see if students really understand how to interpret negative numbers. Now, we understand that students will struggle during our digital content, either in the guided practice or the independent practice. In the interest of time, I only made a few mistakes when we went through the guided practice. But if students struggle at any part of a digital lesson, they receive precise, in-the-moment digital feedback that highlights the relevant part of the problem, provides further scaffolding, and allows the student to try again. So here, there are going to be some students that really aren't ready to compare the distance from 0 for 2 negative numbers. So it's not enough for kids to just click their way through the tower, not getting anything correct. We also don't want them getting stuck. So we're going to provide them the support they need at the point of misconception, known as a boost. So notice how we go back to that foundational understanding that was leveraged during the guided practice to create access to the new learning. Specifically, we're going to go back to the vertical number line. And it's going to take me step by step to help me visualize these two numbers as I start by plotting the point at sea level. Next, I'll plot the point at -4 feet. And now at -2 feet. Bringing me back to the original question, but now with the representation to guide me, I can see that -4 feet is farther from sea level than -2 feet. Now, this is not going to allow me to progress to the next stage because I wasn't able to do it on my own. Instead, it's going to take me right back to my point of struggle and give me another opportunity to demonstrate my understanding. Zearn is more than just great digital content. We built our digital experience to support and enhance great teacher-led instruction. Zearn Math uses an instructional model that helps deepen the engagement between teachers and students. We envision the math classroom as a place where students engage with the same mathematics through live teacher-led instruction, and again through our complementary adaptive digital content. All Zearn Math materials incorporate the best content from the highest rated OER curriculum in order to create an engaging, accessible, and coherent K-8 experience for all kids. For middle school, that includes illustrative math and Eureka Math, Engage New York. Our 6th grade lessons are directly aligned to the scope and sequence of illustrative math, but they can easily be rearranged to follow the Eureka Math or Engage New York scope and sequence as needed. I want to now turn to our materials to support teacher-led instruction, which emphasize discourse in order to support you in creating an engaging and inclusive math community. Let's take a look at the teacher-facing materials. We're going to hop down to lesson 1. This is the same lesson we just experienced digitally. Our daily lesson plans provide teachers with opportunities to facilitate math discussions, where students can bring their own learnings and frames of reference into the classroom. A strong classroom community enhances collective learning possibilities and ensures each and every student is able to engage in meaningful learning. Zearn Math's lesson format in conjunction with the personalized learning students experience in independent digital lessons, enables daily math discussions to shift from answer getting focus to rich, ongoing conversations. Again, our digital content was not designed to replace your live instruction or to remove discourse from the mathematics classroom. Rather, our digital content supports and enhances discourse by equipping all students with the requisite knowledge and language needed to fully engage in those conversations. You, the teacher, you're still going to lead your kids to those aha moments that we all love seeing and experiencing as teachers. And you'll do so using language that is shared across the multiple modalities in which students learn with Zearn. When your students hear you and the on-screen teacher from their digital lesson speaking the same mathematical language, it's automatically going to make them feel as if they have something to contribute to the discussion. It eases their anxieties and feelings that they don't belong in the math classroom. Let's look at activity 1. You'll notice an overview of the activity and ideas on how to launch the activity with your students. From there, you'll see an activity that mirrors the learning we just experienced in the independent digital lesson, along with sample student responses. What I love most about our teacher-facing materials is the discussion guidance that accompanies each activity, which includes anticipated misconceptions, because none of us just believe that every student will always get it. And we also provide additional supports noted for special populations, such as multilingual learners. With great excitement, I can say that all 9 missions covering every objective of grade 6 math are now available free to all teachers. Zearn school accounts can access our ongoing pilot for 7th and 8th grade for the upcoming 22-23 school year. I'm also excited to announce our summer intensive series for summer 22. Each summer series, available for free for rising 1st through 7th graders, identifies the essential math content that'll help set students up for grade level math learning this fall. Each series consists of daily digital lessons and teacher materials for 4 to 6 weeks of targeted math instruction, designed to give students a stronger start to the new school year. The series are designed to be used flexibly, no matter what form summer math learning takes this summer. And for the first time, school accounts also have access to our summer content series for rising 8th and 9th graders. Our team is adding a link to the chat now where you can explore our summer series and find curated math content for each grade level. Thank you so much for joining our info session today. We're thrilled to share this new middle school content with you, and we're here to support you as your 6th graders deeply engage with new concepts. If you have any questions about our middle school math materials, including our grade 7 and 8 pilot program, please don't hesitate to reach out by emailing support@zearn.org. All teachers can sample our grade 6 materials by signing up at any time at zearn.org. It's completely free for teachers, and it always will be. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.